Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
You mean shenanigans? Oh!
Yeah, so like you were saying, you wanted to get naked, and you have to get dressed, right?
Well, yeah, but before I get to do all that, I have to say, welcome to
Punkass.
Random Heroes Cheeky Shenanigans.
Yo, shenanigans. What? Figured I'd try something different.
My name is Jesse, a.k.a. Random Hero.
My name's Nick, a.k.a. Punkass, and hello, everyone.
How are you all doing on this lovely Sunday morning, evening? Wait, afternoon?
It is afternoon.
It is afternoon.
Lovely shitty day, everyone. I feel like everyone's having a shitty day.
I don't think they are.
Well,
I am sick though.
You are sick.
And you're having a shitty day.
You have bronchitis in the ass.
No.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, I don't think that's a thing because you don't have a bronchial tube down there. I think that'd be more like astitis.
Oh.
So real quick, as we're about to get kicked off, I called Nick out once or twice over the last few weeks for repeating the word like all the time.
Yeah.
And as I'm in the habit of doing, I went back and I listened to last week's episode of the show, only to realize that I must have said the word like probably about 1,005 times.
Really? On the last episode?
Yeah.
Oh.
What does that mean?
No, I don't think I paid attention.
Oh, I thought you were saying that I do that every week. And
No.
I only noticed it's like more since I, talked to you about it. So
yeah.
I'm not above saying when I was wrong. And even though I was right about you, I completely missed the fact that I suddenly took it over. So yeah, I'm going to be working on not saying that. And what I've noticed is I use that word if I'm trying to set up like a hypothetical. So instead of if I'm telling a story, instead of saying, and then Nick said this, I usually go, and Nick was like, boom.
Right. So I guess we have to say like sometimes. Or when I'm trying to explain something, I'll be like, I feel like this. Or
you just did it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a hard thing to try and unprogram your brain to do.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten a lot better since like the first few episodes.
You have. And when I'm listening, I try to pick up on some of that stuff. And I also listen for, content things that seem to do well for the conversation. But ultimately, I'm always looking for ways that we can try and improve how this show goes. And I can't tell you to do something if I'm going to keep doing the same thing.
You can't be a hypocritical asshole.
Yeah, so this is me I'm not going to apologize.
So
I'm not saying that I'm sorry, but I'm saying I do it too.
Apology, it's okay.
No.
Apology accepted.
No, there was no apology. But I need to work on the same thing.
So, since the last episode when we had Aaron here, and you and Aaron were just popping each other's assholes, now it's just back to us today.
Yeah, well, and I like this, the ebb and flow of having a guest to contribute and then just getting a little Nick time.
Yeah, we were technically supposed to have a guest today, which was going to be a chick, but she obviously just ditched out on us, so whatever.
Well, she'll listen to this at some point. It's my roommate Yvette was going to surprise us and do the show today, then I was sick last night, and I don't know if she even realized we were still going to record today.
I'm starting to notice like a lot of comedians or like celebrities do podcasts out of their house.
Yeah.
It's surprising, like, except for like Joe Rogan and shit, they have like their own little office or something like that.
Right. Well, and he does shows like every day or every other day.
It's like his job. I guess he doesn't call it his job. He just likes it because he gets to talk to different people every day.
Yeah. And when you're a celebrity, you have a never-ending stream of guests who are ready to do it, and especially with that particular show, it's probably arguably the biggest podcast in the country right now.
Yeah, ever.
And it's kind of what got me into deciding that I thought it would be a good thing for us to do also, was listening to a bunch of that.
Well, for me, it was like Kevin Smith and listening to Jay and Silent Bob get old. I don't know. I guess Kevin Smith gave me the inspiration.
And you went and saw him and Jason Mewes at the Tulalip Casino, right?
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago?
But that podcast is more for Jason Mewes, which is Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, if people don't know.
Was that a podcast?
Yeah, they do a podcast live, but it's more like not like an NA meeting, but kind of for him, since his past is all about being like doing heroin and popping pills and going in and out of rehab.
Right.
And Kevin would always like take care of him all the time. And there was a time where he's like said, "Fuck it, I'm not trying to help you anymore." And they didn't talk for like a year or something like that until he finally get back into his life and he got clean, but then he had like another relapse again. But now he's been sober, I think, for like 8 years now.
That sounds about right.
They use the podcast to go to different cities and stuff like that to tell his stories and talk about how many days he's been sober.
Yeah.
So when people run into him, they can be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? You staying sober?" It's some weird shit like that.
Yeah, it's like a community accountability tool.
That's exactly what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
and I guess it helps him as well.
Yeah. How many days have you been sober?
That's weird for me. I don't keep track of the days.
Well, I was going to say, because we're about to not be anymore.
Well, if you want to get technical, I did have problems with pills back in the day.
Well, we've discussed that, and I don't want to keep beating people up for their past.
Well, no. I guess it's fine to talk about, but I guess honestly, it's been, I don't know, a few years maybe.
I was just making a joke because we have to take a shot. That's all I was doing.
No,
I wasn't trying to.
You brought up my past. Now I'm going to cry.
Nick is actually crying. I'm looking directly into his squinty blue eyes that are tearing up with water. Yep. I'm just kidding. We're going to take a shot.
So I posted it that was raunchy. I posted an ad on our Facebook page about Girl Scout cookies.
An ad or a topic?
It's a topic. And Jesse, I'm not trying to be rude, but looking at you, I'm sure you enjoy some Girl Scout cookies.
Wow.
I wanted to know
Fuck you.
Wanted to know what your favorite kind of cookie was from the Girl Scouts.
Okay. And this is an answer that's changed once or twice in the past. But I like I think they're called the Samoas.
Those
the coconut.
are my favorite, the coconut ones.
Yeah.
It's either those or the tagalongs, which is like the peanut butter filled ones. Those ones are really good.
Those are good. And then for Girl Scout cookies, I even like their basic ones. I think they're called the Do-si-dos.
Oh yeah, just the regular sugar cookie flavor kind of.
Because sometimes, like, if you want a cookie, you don't always want one with a ton of like chocolate and frosting on it. Sometimes you just want like a little, almost more like a British biscuit for tea time. Just like a little tiny snack.
Well, yeah, my girlfriend got the lemon cookies. Mm-hmm. I'm a real big fan of lemon for some reason, but those are really good. So those are my favorite now.
They have the powdered sugar on them.
Yeah, I think we all just like Girl Scout cookies, and I want to know, is there some type of form of heroin inside these cookies that these Girl Scouts make, they say, and we all get addicted to them, but they only do it once a year, so then we can have withdrawals when they're not selling the cookies anymore.
Are they the ones who make them too? Like, you have little Girl Scout sweatshops?
That's what I'm trying, like the Keebler elves, right? They make cookies in a tree. Do these Girl Scout cookies, do they like force them like Chinese kids in China, where they only make like 10 cents a fucking cookie they make? Or what? Or who makes them? That's what I want to know. I don't want to have this false advertisement like, oh, these Girl Scouts are making the cookies, so you need to fucking pay money to help these girls out. That's all I'm trying to say. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Well, I don't know if they... There's one reason I believe that the Girl Scouts aren't the ones actually in sweatshops making the cookies, and that's because they spend, it seems like, all freaking day, every day of the week, out there peddling them. And you always know, like, if you walk into the store and if you can, like, get by, the shakedown as on your way in,
I always
you might feel good for a minute.
Look on my face so they don't try to ask me, and then they try to get me on the way out.
Yeah, well, there's one easy way to not have Girl Scouts approach you, and that's to look like me. I'm pretty sure they're worried that I'm the guy who's going to kidnap them or something, because I just, and I try not to be a creepy guy or anything, but I'm okay with that being the impression they get when they're selling cookies, because then I only want to buy them when I actually want to buy, a couple boxes for the year.
Yeah.
And every time I go into Hagen or Safeway, I don't have to come out with 2 more boxes because they're so cute and they come up and they are so nice to you normally. Like,
Hi,
it's
do you want to
impossible.
buy some cookies?
Right. It's impossible to say no to that if you actually like have the cash on you to give to them.
Or you know what they really should do? They should find. I know it's gonna sound fucked up, but it's not really gonna be because it's coming out of my mouth.
We're talking about Girl Scouts, so just tread carefully.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, what if they had like a couple of disabled girls that are in wheelchairs?
Yeah.
And they try to go ask for cookies. I bet they would sell a lot more doing it that way.
How many more cookies do you want them to sell? They've got
It's
a
like a
monopoly on
heroin
that.
industry. See what I'm saying?
It is.
It's like $1 billion. No, it's not. I don't know. It could be.
I bet once, like, if you were to like burn down the cookies to their basic elements, that's how you'd find the heroin. Like that's where you'd have to do some chemistry. It'd be like a CSI scene where you're taking little squirt bottles and putting them into petri dishes and using a microscope to look at it. And then I'll say, oh, yep, there's the heroin. Found it.
I just, I posted that to see if we could get like a reaction from however many likes we have on Facebook so far. But I just wanted to see whose favorite cookies, what people liked and everything.
Is there a type of their cookies that you like hate?
Yeah, I don't really like the minty ones. I'll tolerate them.
You don't like the Thin Mints?
Not anymore. I feel like that's everybody's go-to cookie.
It seems
I
to
like
be.
the Thin Mint cookies.
A couple years ago, actually more than a couple at this point, but Devin and I had started a podcast that we were trying to get up and running called Department of Offense. And we, in like the first episode, we were talking about Girl Scout cookies. And somehow the conversation, as it always does with Devin, started to turn like sexual at some point. Mm-hmm. And then I think I had mentioned that, dating a girl, and then like if she came in to like try and, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like trying to role play, I guess, wearing a Girl Scout uniform, and then like, give me some of them Thin Mints. And then that became code on the rest of the show for like anything sexual. So I can't even hear Thin Mints now without thinking about it in that context. Man, I can't wait till we get him on this show sometime, though.
You know what's funny, though? Just you saying that, right? You wanted to role play.
I've never done it, but it was a joke I had made.
Right. Just imagine having your girlfriend just like, hey, can you dress up as a Girl Scout? And just, like, how much shit that person would get this day and age? Because someone would be like, oh, you're sick, Girl Scout? What are you, fucking pedophile? It's like shit like that.
Well, I mean, for guys, a lot of us kind of have standard... they're almost like factory default fantasies where it's like we all seem to love girls who are dressed up, like in the plaid skirt with the white shirt, like the quote unquote girl,
like the Britney Spears
schoolgirl.
style.
Yeah. And it seems like I've never met a guy who wasn't into that in some form or another. But once you change that type of fantasy into one that is called Girl Scouts and is about, like that, then the fantasy gets a little bit creepy, and then you got to kind of pump the brakes and be like, maybe there's another social organization.
Or those fucking little furry communities where they bone wearing animal suits.
The furries?
Yeah.
Have you, they've done like documentaries on those and stuff before. Have you ever seen anything like that?
I try not to watch those because then I don't want to get turned on or find out that I'm like into that. So I try to stay away from them.
You're so scared that you would be a furry that you won't even watch something
fucking,
about
I'd
them?
probably end up being like a squirrel. Go on yourself, numbnuts.
Or nutkin. Yeah. And then you would go just sock away your nuts. And
It's just like it's crazy what people can, get into or what they're into.
It is, but okay. So is there any weird one? Maybe not that weird, obviously, but like, is there a weird thing that you're into like that?
No, I don't think so.
Come on, there's got to be something.
Like what?
Maybe not weird, but like, what's like maybe a non-necessarily normal thing that you like?
See, when you put me on the spot like this, nothing ever pops up, and I have to like think about it.
Yeah, but that's kind of the whole point of a podcast. You got to be ready to answer questions and talk and shit.
Yeah.
You're not doing so well with this one?
No.
God damn. Do I have to send you all questions for the show like in advance so that you can prepare answers throughout the week?
Maybe. Yeah, there's nothing. I can't think of anything.
You always ask questions
it's
like that.
If I put you on the spot of
You
the
do.
same question.
Every episode you ask.
No,
Like, I'll be talking about something serious, and then you'll be like, hey, Jesse, have you ever put peanut butter in your anus and done that? Like, okay.
But obviously I know the answer is going to be no.
How do you know?
Okay, have you put peanut butter in your anus?
No. But you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
So how you doing, buddy? Having a shitty week?
Yeah, I'm having a shitty week, but it's okay. I feel like everybody has a shitty week.
You're in therapy now. Tell us what your problems are.
Well,
or is that putting you on the spot?
My boyfriend right now is just not really giving me a good break. You know, he's getting on my ass, literally.
No lube, no reach around?
Yeah, nothing. You know?
Man, I'll talk to Aaron for you. Don't worry.
I am a little excited because I get to go see Mushroom Head tonight. That's cool.
You and Ben were talking about that show a couple episodes back.
You know what I was hoping? Maybe I really want to, like, hey, Ben, you remember me? Hey, can I go backstage for a second? You know what I mean?
There's not really a backstage at that venue, but, I mean, I'm sure he'll recognize you.
Be like, can I meet the band or something? I don't know. It would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask him.
But I found out recently, like, that whole band was, like, going at it, like, in 1993, 94. And apparently I was watching music videos just to get reminded of the songs. Yeah. I don't listen to them every day.
Sure.
But I guess the last, like, original singer quit last year, and I didn't know. So it's pretty much like almost a new lineup with, you know.
So are the rest of the band the same members?
There is only one person left out of the band that's
really
like original, yeah. Yeah.
So why are they calling themselves Mushroom Head still then?
I think just because of the like cult factor of it, you know, kind of like with Gore or like Slipknot. It's just keeping that Halloween vibe alive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, if Slipknot changed members, you would never know. So
that's
I guess Mushroom
like
Head's about the same.
They wear masks, so it's not like you're gonna be like, oh, he's not the same guy unless you look it up.
Right,
something.
And it's funny to think about this because, like, organically, if you followed them from 1994 until today, as all that stuff was happening, you'd be caught up to speed on it, and you would know like who's in the band. It'd be fine or whatever. And then, but if you forget about him for all those years, and then you look him up and you realize there's only one original member left, like,
yeah,
it feels like you're gonna go to watch a different band. Whereas if you'd paid attention the whole time, like I've done with some other bands that have changed a lot of members, then it feels natural. It's like, yeah, they still sound like the band. That's the band.
Is one of those bands Panic at the Disco?
You know, they've always been a guilty pleasure band of mine. In fact, when their first record dropped way back in, goddamn, what was that, like 2004 or something like that?
Haven't you ever heard of closing the goddamn door? Yeah.
That video was so iconic too. Like, it's a ridiculous song if you kind of think about the fact they made that song a single where the chorus has a word they had to bleep every time they sing it.
What, the horror one?
No, you can't say goddamn on the radio. You can say damn.
You can't just put the two together?
No.
Oh.
So I don't remember which word they would always bleep, but I think that they always bleep the word God out of it. And that's weird to me. You know, it's not like that's dirty.
It's not. It's just, you know, those stupid religious assholes. Like
Easy,
PETA. like PETA. I don't know, the animal people.
God.
You know?
Did you see all this shit they've been doing for Steve Irwin this week?
No.
So, and this has just been developing the last couple
They
days.
better not be talking shit about my Steve Irwin.
Oh, they are.
Oh, they are.
Basically, okay, so everyone who actually loves animals has come to accept that Steve Irwin was very, very good with them. He was very kind.
He didn't torture animals.
No.
Like, cranky, I'm going to put this thumb up this croc's asshole.
And that's the running joke. But at the end of the day, like, all he was doing was trying to, you know, give these animals some camera time and introduce them to the world. And he had a genuine love for them. So PETA comes in and they're basically saying that he was, it's not that he was bad against animals, but it was something to the effect of he was showing people like inhumane treatment of animals because some of them were locked up or are still pets or something to that extent. And basically the entire internet rose up against PETA and they're like, you don't talk bad about Steve fucking Irwin around here.
It's crazy. I think we talked about it before, how he died just a fucking stingray.
He got a stingray bobbed right through his heart.
Fuck it. I don't understand PETA anyways. Like, I get...
It's good bread.
It is good bread. I like it with some hummus every now and then. I don't get, like, what's up their asses all the time. I understand there's, like, the shitty places where there's, like breeding...
like puppy farms
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, shit like that. Or they'll just keep animals in small cages. And, like, people, you know, give a real big hoot about fucking SeaWorld or, like, zoos. But to me, wouldn't you rather have, like, an animal in their own, like, little habitat? Granted, it's not the whole fucking, like, Africa plain.
Yeah.
Instead of being out in Africa and maybe get killed because of poachers or someone wants their fucking hooves or horns. You know
that's
what I mean?
always going to be the battle. And PETA... Like, the name, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, I am down with that. I don't think that anyone should be torturing animals or poaching them or just cutting the horn off of a rhino or the tusks off of an elephant. That is all messed up. The problem is, that's not what PETA is. They're not trying to get people to treat animals just ethically, because one great thing about this whole issue is all the things that people have brought to light about PETA, like their dark secrets. Now that they're calling out Steve Irwin, people are like, oh, well, why don't we just educate everyone on what you guys are all about?
Didn't they kind of ruin the whole circus thing?
Well, yeah, and I mean, circuses, they didn't treat their animals well, let's be honest. That's not a battle I really cared if they lost, because it's a good fight. But there's statistics to where when PETA goes out and they capture strays or they rescue animals or whatever, they have something in the ballpark of an 80 to 90% euthanasia rate for those animals.
Oh, wow.
And there's direct stories from people involved with PETA talking about these sheds where they will put down dogs. And I read this heartbreaking article where they'd been watching this neighborhood in like a state over in the South, like Arkansas or Alabama or one of those. And these people, they had been living in a trailer park, and they had a Chihuahua, and it was well cared for. Yeah, it was fine. It was a little dog, and it was cared for. They never let it get out. It wasn't a stray. And PETA basically came in and lured it off their porch, called it a stray because in that state they have the ability to act as like an animal catcher service or whatever. So they lure it off the porch, they capture the dog, and they had it killed within 2 days. And the lady's like... Does
anybody know why?
Yeah, because they're evil fucking assholes. Yeah. They're not trying to get people to treat animals ethically. They're trying to be animal-friendly terrorists.
It's like they're treating this like the fucking Avengers movie, Thanos.
Yeah, maybe that's their goal. They're just trying to...
genocide?
If they kill half the animals, then...
Yeah.
But, like... And all of these are subject to, you know, truth verification. What I read, that was a long-winded article I read that had a lot of details in it, and I believe that was all correct. But at the end of the day, this is all allegations, but no one deeply involved with PETA who's not, like, part of their circle, no one deeply involved with them thinks that they're good people or that what they're doing is good.
You know what? I think we should start our own cheeky shenanigan cult, and then we go against PETA.
You want to start a cult?
Yeah, let's start a cult.
A cult.
And we'll call them...
OCCULT.
Yeah, and then we'll call
Can
them...
I be God?
Cheeky shenanigan babies.
What, animals?
No,
people. You are a furry, aren't you?
People.
You're trying to call animals your children. Yeah. You're trying to start a cult to rival PETA. What you're telling me here slowly throughout this episode is that you want to fuck horses.
Well, you know, sometimes horses is the way to go. You want to know why? Because they don't talk back to you.
Unless it's Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's sad is that we're getting to the age where a lot of people that like you hang out with, like maybe younger 20s, you might see at a bar or whatever. None of them have any idea who Mr. Ed was.
None of them don't even know like some of our music either anymore. It's all about Lil Pump and yeah. Tattoo my fucking face, bro. I'm gonna shoot you with my Mic 9.
And here's a funny thought. So in the Seattle area, we've had a main rock station for like current rock music, KISW, for a long time. And we used to have a pretty decent oldies station. When I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, that oldies station would play things like Zeppelin and the Beatles and, you know, things from like the 60s and 70s. So by that logic, if that oldie station existed today, they should be playing stuff from like the 90s, like the stuff that we grew up listening to. Like Blink would be an oldie at this point. Green Day, all that stuff.
You want to know what bugs me about Blink?
What?
Now that Tom's gone, people that start listening to Blink now are going to think that's like the real Blink, and it's fucking
With
not.
Matt Skiba?
Yeah, and it's not.
It's not. And
It's like,
this was one area I agreed with you on because I happen to love that California record, but I also wholeheartedly acknowledge that it's different with no Tom DeLonge. And I love Matt Skiba, I love Alkaline Trio, and I love that music together. I don't think they should have called themselves Blink-182. What I think they should have done, and it just kind of hit me recently, they should have done what like Monty Python did. Monty Python, when they lost John Cleese, they stopped calling it the Flying Circus, Monty Python's Flying Circus, and they only called it Monty Python.
Yeah.
So what Blink should have done, not call yourselves Blink-182, just say Blink.
Skiba
Or just
something.
Blink.
Yeah. You know what's funny to me? Because Mark, the bassist, started another side project. I don't know if you saw that, called like Creatures or something, with another guy from a different band. And
I can't keep up with all of his side projects.
Well, right. It's like it's just them two, kind of like a like EDM type music, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, Tom DeLonge's done like 2 side projects, and he always like takes success out of those. Like, people like listening to it, and I feel like when Mark tries to do it by himself, like, it always drops off. Because, like, if Tom came back and said, hey, I'm going to do a Boxcar Racer tour, we would all want to listen to that because we liked what he did.
I saw Boxcar Racer on tour.
Yeah, I was there, but we didn't know each other yet.
And the crazy thing was Aaron was there, too, and we didn't know him either.
Yeah, no, it's
the
crazy
the
how
show
that
where
worked out.
the used and
the floor broke,
Yeah.
and we had to go out for a minute.
We should.
Tom was like, which one of you fat asses broke the floor? I remember him saying that.
I got one of his guitar picks that night too, but
do you still have it? I want it
somewhere. I wanna really quickly tell that story though, because it's something you don't hear about every day, and no one listening probably has any idea what we're talking about.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna let Jesse take the floor. It's Jesse story time.
Yay, story time.
Carry on.
So this would have been back in like 2002, 2001, somewhere in there. And down in Seattle, there's a venue called the Paramount. And that
Paramount
venue,
Theater, politically correct.
It's a big theater that when you walk inside of it, it feels like you're in a theater where you should be seeing like an opera or Shakespeare or something. Like,
yeah, because they have a balcony and shit.
They have a balcony. They have really nice seating. They have the huge curtains and like big lights, like chandeliers and all that. It's a cool place, but they also do like rock shows and stuff. So what they do is they move all the floor seating out of the way, and then they make it like a
general admission type deal.
And one thing that venue also does is they do musical theater there. So they have a pit for the pit orchestra, and that is actually lower than all the seating. I'm just trying to describe for the people.
Well, right. Well, it's bringing me back now as you're saying it. So I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a pit orchestra. And what they do when they want general admission for a show like this is they cover the pit.
I feel like they have to do that because kids would just either like jump in or like try to get to the stage or whatever and not stay in their seats.
Well, of course. And also that floor space would be useless if they didn't cover it. It would be a complete waste. But that's where you want it to be if you have musicians in there and you're seeing a play. You don't want to see them. You just want to hear it. Anyway, so there's this pit. They cover it up. And they put up a fence before the stage, and then everyone comes in and they're rocking out. And there was a couple bands, but one of the immediate pre-opener to Blink or to Boxcar Racer was the Used.
Was it H2O first and then the Used, or was it the Used first?
I believe it was H2O first.
Okay.
And then the Used, and everyone was excited to see the Used. And so they've got this pit going. There's 2 or 3 songs into their set. And all of a sudden, the floor collapses that they had put over the pit orchestra area, and they stopped the entire show. I didn't even get to see like how it broke or what exactly
I wasn't
happened
around that area either.
Yeah, and so they stopped the show. They took the Used off the stage. They moved everyone back, and then they like recovered it.
Yeah.
And I think they put some extra plywood down or whatever. And when they let everyone back up to, the fence for the stage, they basically said that time all came out of the used set, and they wouldn't let him finish. And that pissed everyone off, because half the people that I know who were at that show were not there to see Boxcar Racer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were there to see the used. That was right when they were coming up, blue and yellow, a taste of
You know
ink.
what's funny? Walking, like, parking and then walking to that venue, you know how there's those, like, really, like, hardcore punk rockers, like, they'll listen to, like, Black Flag or Minor Threat, like, the real hardcore ones.
Yeah.
And I always had these favorite pair of, like, punk rock plaid pants with, like, zippers on them, like, and I wore those and stuff, and I don't know why this guy said it. He was walking with his buddy, and he had, like, the punk rock jacket, and I think the mohawk. I don't think he was going to the show, but
Was it a leather jacket?
I think so.
With little metal spikes in it? Okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted one of those, too. But I was only 14 at the time, because you're older than me. And we were walking by with my buddy and this friend that we went with, and he fucking walks past us, and he's all fucking posers, and, like, walks them. I'm like, jeez, dude. Yeah, like, that type of shit. And that was the first show where I ever did, like, my first mosh pit, too. That's where I got into it, even though it's not,
So
like...
you broke the floor.
No, but it wasn't, like, a big, heavy metal mosh pits that I've been in before, just, like, the small punk rockish ones.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. I mean, there was a big guy in there, but I really love crowd surfing, though. That's really fun. I love doing that.
I've only done that once, maybe twice, but it's fun. It's just venues lately, they don't like to let people do it anymore.
And I've done stage dives. That's fun, too. But I've only done, like, a couple, not a lot.
I haven't gotten to do one of those. I've always been a little bit of a bigger guy, give or take. There's been times when I've been more fit, and I'm actually, still been losing some weight this time around. But
I'm not fat. I'm big bump.
come on, you guys.
Come
on. There was another show I went to see. It was called an End Penny Pincher show way back in the day. I
don't even know who that is.
So the End is a radio station.
Oh, okay.
And they used to have penny pincher shows that cost you $1.07.
Oh, okay.
Which was their call sign, 1077. So they did one back. This would have been about year 2001 again or so, and it was with Finger 11. Australian band. Their first record was awesome and heavy, and then their second record was kind of more mellow.
Yeah.
But they came into town. Me and my friend Steve and a couple other people went down to the show. It was at the Showbox Market in Seattle, and just saw Silverstein there too. But so we get in, we're seeing the show, and during like the beginning of the Finger 11 set, my buddy Steve gets up on the crowd, rides it all the way up to the stage, and then kind of dismissed the security guys and jumped back into the stage dive. Yeah. They didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And so they kicked him out.
Oh, wow.
And like it was right at the beginning of that set. So I was like, and there's no cell phones back in this day really either. Like if your buddy's getting kicked out, he's got to grab you and tell you what's going on as they're taking him out.
Yeah.
So he does that, and security walks him out, and I meet him outside, and we're talking. And I'm like, shoot, man, we got to see the rest of this show, but they won't let you back in here. And
So
then
you
we got
ditched
an
them?
idea. No.
Oh.
So based on how we were dressed, I had a hat on.
Right.
I had a different looking shirt and a coat. And so we swapped all of our clothing except for our pants.
Did it work?
It totally worked. He got right back in, and I was like, Steve, look, this is our last chance. You don't get to do this again. Let's stay in here for the show this time. He's like, yeah, I already did what I wanted.
I've done stage dives at El Corazon, which there's no barricade. It's just, the fans on the stage. But
I love that.
There's
venue.
there's videos of me doing it on YouTube because people would record shit. So there's actually a couple out there with me in there. But I did one where I didn't really jump. For some reason, I kind of just dove and I rolled. But then there was a point of time where there was no one left after I rolled. So then I just dropped to the floor and it hurt. Yeah, it was pretty bad. But it's pretty funny.
God, a couple years ago, I think like 2012-ish, I went down with my brother Jacob to the Shower Center, and we got to see Rise Against with A Day to Remember.
Oh, that's right.
And someone else. So we're in there, and I love A Day to Remember, and we're already jazzed up and having a good time. Like, all around, this was one of the best concert experiences ever. So we're already having fun, and then they're doing a song where one of the guitar players is going to sing the lead vocals, so their singer, Jeremy, didn't really need to be on stage anymore.
Yeah.
And then we realized what his like side stage crew was doing with that weird inflatable thing they were blowing up for the first 3 songs. It's a giant human-sized hamster ball.
Yeah.
So they start that song. He climbs into the hamster ball because he doesn't have to do anything for the song, and he starts running across the pit. Like people are holding him up like he's stage
Now,
diving.
did he get it in it when the ball was up on the crowd, or was it kind of like
He got it in it on the stage, and then he ran onto the crowd.
Oh,
and
wow.
And I've got video on my Facebook and on my phone. I was taking video of it because I'd never heard of anything like that before.
Yeah.
But he must have done, 2 or 3 laps around, a big circle pit area of people. And he's just running the whole. He looked like a hamster too, because you had to use all 4 limbs to keep it going. And then he got back to the stage right towards the end of that song, and they kept going. But
That would be fun to do.
it was amazing to
Too
even
bad-
watch.
It'd be cool if we got famous like that and we can go into hamster balls. You know?
Well, I think we're at the level of fame right now where we could probably go into a regular size hamster ball.
Oh, God. You know what recently happened today? Let's get into some sex talk.
Ooh.
Tom
Once
Brady's owner guy got caught having sex with Asian women.
I wonder if they were moist.
Moisted. You probably didn't even get him moist. It was like, no wet. You keep me dry, old man.
I just love that I get to keep saying this on my podcast, knowing how many people hate that word.
Moist?
Yeah, but in a way that it's funny, like it might bother them, but it's not like they're gonna.
Like,
stop
I've never
listening
done
over
it, but it's like maybe you're, doing intercourse or foreplay. I just like saying intercourse. 'Cause it's
Intercourse.
funny. Like, it'd be like, instead
Coitus.
of saying like you're so wet, like you're so moist, and just to see like a reaction.
Do you have to tell your boyfriends you're moist a lot?
No, I kind of just stay quiet and give them like the weird looks. Like they know the looks. Like if they're doing good, I'll give them like a look, and then if they're doing bad, I'll be like, wee wee.
Oh, I thought you were going back to the caveman sex with that one.
I don't know. I love.
I brought you wheel.
Wheel. I have no money for wheel.
But that the same kind of accent seems like it works for a good French guy too.
Yeah.
I will come see you.
La
as
la
you
la,
will be.
ménage au trois. Yeah. I cannot do any Can you do accents? Like I'll try to do British. Like, oi, mate. Come, that sounds like Australian. I can't do
That's kind
anything.
of well, like there's sub accents in each culture. So in British, there's the British accent. There's a lot of different versions of it. Kind of like in America, how you have the Southern accent.
Yeah.
And then New York and Boston.
Like
and-
I'm from Boston, motherfucker.
Right, and there's all these
That sounded
different
Asian right there too.
There's all these different like sub accents. So the UK is difficult because the one you were doing with the "Oi, mate,"
Yeah.
that's kind of more the Cockney style one. But then you've got like the really proper London ones and all that. I can't do great on British ones. I've got a very stereotypical Steve Irwin one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can do a decent Irish one.
Like when I hear people talk like from London or something, it makes me feel like they're so proper because that just feels like a proper accent in the world or something.
It is, and that's why I love it when British people narrate documentaries, is because they just sound like they know what they're talking
Or-
about all the time.
I think it's either Europe and I think Australia, they'll call each other cunts, and then that's like,
All
that's
the time.
fine. That's fine. But when we say it here, it's like saying the N-word for some reason.
Depending on your audience.
Like, you stupid cunt. What did you say?
Oh, yeah, that's one I don't even bring out often. Like I love British culture, but I would struggle there with just being able to say that word.
Like,
I
do you
don't
know
know.
who Jim Jeffries is?
Oh, I love
Comedian?
Jim Jeffries. Yeah, he's
When
Australian now.
Yeah, he's doing his little stand-up, and he'd be like talking about, oh, these little cunts and these little cunts, you make stupid cunt. I'm like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
But it's okay for him to say because he's from Australia.
Well, and over there, or like in Australia or in England, like saying that word just isn't that bad. That's the difference. It's not like they're just used to saying much more vulgar stuff. It's just that when that word came out, I guess, it had a slightly
Like-
less serious.
What if we went
Feel.
into some different type of like, there was a wormhole for some reason in your closet and you went through it and we went through a different dimension where white people talked like how black people talk and black people talked like white people. Wouldn't that be weird?
It'd be weird, but the hardest part for me would be to believe is that, like, in my opinion, all black people are about 10 years cooler than white people.
Well, yeah, because they have slang and like.
Yeah, and by the time we've learned it, they've already moved on to the next one.
Yeah.
You know, like Dave Chappelle was great at pointing that stuff out and how he'd mess with people and say not slang things just to make them sound like it. I don't think we could ever pull that off.
It would just be like just a fun, like, it's just a fun thought.
I think that
you know, like white people calling each other the N word, and then the black people are like, "Oh, we can't say that word." Just thinking outside the box.
Well, and we don't have any words that only white people can say.
Yeah, we really don't.
There's not, and I'm okay with that because there's some words that only there's definitely at least one word only black people should say.
Like I learned from. I forgot what it was, but like the word gook's actually not like really racist in some other country. It like,
sounds really racist here,
right,
though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess gook meant like it's just another like name for like a Korean. Like I don't know. It wasn't a racist word, and then I guess white people turned it into racism or something like that.
I wouldn't say that. Here's what happens, and I'm just going to get serious for a minute, but I can explain this phenomenon. So what happens is the context in which a word is used the most becomes something that adds to the connotation of it. So the N-word, for example, if that word didn't start being more popular by like white slave owners and used in a negative way for so long, it never would have been a negative word today. With a word like, as you said, gook, I don't know the history behind it.
Yeah.
But if that word started off innocently, then most likely what happened is that too many people started using it as an insult.
Well, I think it kind of happened like in the Vietnam War or some type of war. They say, "Oh yeah, we shot a bunch of gooks over there," or something like that. So maybe that was the cause of it. Maybe. And
that's what happens. No word at its inception is bad or good, but words over the span of your life can mean something totally different to you, to a culture, to an ethnicity. All of that stuff. So, the N-word, calling gook, or even, calling someone a cunt or whatever, those words didn't start off as bad. Not even like fuck and shit and all those started off as bad. It's not like someone sat down and they're like, okay, the Bible says we can't swear, so let's go ahead and invent a couple new swear words. That's
and like, where did these words come from too? I always think like, who invented fuck? Did it just start on the East Coast and work its way to the West Coast?
And I don't know. I think it might predate America.
Or was it caveman? Ho 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 fuck.
Oh, fuck you.
Fuck me.
But then it's like, why? If you think about all the different ways to use the word fuck, which sounds so much worse when you're a kid than it does now. Like I know Christians who will say that word now that wouldn't have dreamed of it back then.
How dare they?
Because I think people realize that just saying a word has no inherent meaning. It's the context. So if you're saying, "Oh, fuck that," you're not really swearing. You're just trying to vent some frustration. If you walk up to someone, you get right in their face and you're just like, "Fuck you, man." Now that's swearing. Anything you say there. Clam
that's like
chowder.
Fucking slapping a dildo in their face.
Yeah. If you walk up and you said any word to them in that context, it's going to sound bad. Walk up and it's just like,
what I would do?
Toothbrush pencil case. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" "I'm swearing, motherfucker."
If they said that right to my face, I'd just kiss them.
But you know what I mean? Like, and then there's words that in your life probably mean something worse to you than they would for anyone else, just based on someone who said it a lot to you, how it was used, something that happened after a word was used.
Yeah,
everyone's got that.
I have like weird vocabulary shit that really like puts people off guard. Like when I'm arguing with my girlfriend, I'd be like, "Well, because you yelled at me." But she didn't really yell at me. I guess I just consider it yelling because we're like talking. I don't know. Like we're in an argument, so I'm just assuming she's yelling at me, but she's really not.
Yeah.
I guess I exaggerated, but not doing it on purpose.
Well,
Yeah.
And this is one of the most complex ideas about communication with people. Like for someone like you might be bothered by that situation. Or she might say something very specific and it might bother you. But if that's never happened to me, it's going to be different. And then if you're trying to, if let's say that you and I are talking on air and I say something that kind of gets you a little annoyed and then you don't want to talk about it.
Which would happen.
Yeah. I wouldn't know why that bothered you unless you tell me. And then what happens is, as you tell me something specific that bothers you, then what I do is I equate that in my head to a very similar thing that I have. And now those two terms are connected. So if me saying the word furry bothered you because you were, for whatever reason, you were one, you got raped by one, whatever it was, and that bothered you, I wouldn't know that. But then when you tell me, then I go, okay, so that's just like this word for me. I equate it to something in my own head, and then I know from there on out, okay, this phrase means this to Nick. It's almost like a translation, because our language is very personal to each person. So something that bugs you that you hear wouldn't necessarily bug your girlfriend. Something she says might really upset you, and she has no idea why. Once you talk about it, she still may not understand, but true understanding of a person comes from when you really try to understand why something bugs them, or at least accept it to the fact that you just avoid it.
Yeah. I'd probably get a little bit of backlash from saying this, but I guess really realizing situations and shit like that, communication is key in relationships, everybody.
Oh my God. That's the most profound, unique thing I've ever heard in my life.
It really is, though, even though people say it is, but I don't know, relationships or friends always struggle with it from time to time. I'm just saying.
I don't think that just saying communication is key for relationships covers it, because that's a given. Communication with anyone. When I was in 8th grade, I dated this girl at my school for like 3 months, and we never even hung out. Like, I asked her, she said yes, and then we were dating, quote unquote. I would call her like once a week. We would talk occasionally at school, but it was so embarrassing and new that, like, there wasn't a whole lot of communication there yet. So there's not much of a relationship. That's a given.
Yeah.
But what I think the difference is that it's accurate communication is key. So, if Lindsay, your girlfriend, is doing something that bugs you, or is saying something and you get upset and she doesn't understand why, now you got to go, okay, so what's something that bugs her that I can equate this to? And then what you do is you say, okay, look, when you say this, it bugs me because it's like when I say this to you and it bugs you. Then you start to make some connections, and it's like translation. Everyone's terminology and their vocabulary is all unique to them. Just like a fingerprint, and the context in which you say things is always going to be unique just to you, how you phrase it, your inflections, all of it. The fact that you're looking at me cross-eyed right now and yet still have a boner for some reason.
Boner. It's another one of those funny words.
Boner.
Boner. Well, now that we got sidetracked.
From what?
Talking about fucking what's his name from the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Almost lost my mic there.
Your mic was trying to go down on you.
Yeah, he was. So yeah, I didn't really read the article that much. Can you give me a little insight about what happened with the Patriots? And...
So Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, and most people are probably going to even know more about this than we do just by mentioning it.
Well, I hate the Patriots for one. Everyone hates the Patriots.
Yeah.
Why do you want to keep watching the same team over and over again win a fucking Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl? Granted, they're good, obviously.
Well, apparently the key to getting 6 rings is being involved in sex rings.
Or getting your balls flat or cheating and watching other people's teams play. I don't know, whatever the fuck they did.
Well, that's all on the coaching staff and Tom and all, that's on that level. What we're talking about now is the owner.
Yeah.
So this is a person, and he's not like Jerry Jones with Dallas, where he's not like super involved with all the decisions. And
he's just the money guy.
Yeah. And the strange thing is, like, it's bad enough if it's like a prostitution ring, right? Mm-hmm. I think why this became such a big story is A, because of who he is and that he owns the Patriots, who just won the Super Bowl again.
Yep.
Or B, because there was later information that connects that same establishment to potential human trafficking.
Right. But
that's where the real issue's coming up.
Knowing
now.
who he is,
yeah.
Knowing the story, nothing's going to fucking happen to him. Plus, for one, he's rich. 2, he owns the fucking Patriots. No, he's just going to get like, oh, well, this is the reason why he did it, but we're just going to give him a little tap on
pass.
the fucking, here you go.
Well, I don't think they'll ever connect him to the sex trafficking aspect of it and I don't even know if he was involved in that aspect.
Right, but I'm saying if he was involved, he's not really going to be involved because they're not going to let that happen on his record.
If he was involved with human trafficking, they will take him down. This is not the political climate to be giving someone like that a free pass for such a hot button issue. But if it was only the prostitution aspect, yeah, he's not going to see a day in jail. He's probably not even going to see a day in court. He'll probably just have lawyers going and
and he's probably going to win another Super Bowl next year.
God, I so hope not. But like, okay, so here's a question: if there was no chance that you'd be involved in human trafficking, or even if you would ever get caught, would you go to a massage parlor to get someone to like play with your shit?
I've thought about this before when I was single, right?
Let me ask it in a different way real quick. If it was legal to go to a massage parlor and get a happy ending, would you do it?
But here's the thing. This is what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
I'm different when it comes to that. I think it's because I'm scared that I'll catch something, or theoretically, I feel like it's not right for some reason. I'd probably do it if I was like sedated on some types of drugs and alcohol, to be honest.
So, okay, like in Nevada, it's still legal outside of Las Vegas.
Yeah, I would probably go to the cat house. I think the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah, and at those places, you know that they're doing health checks and stuff like that.
Want to know what's funny? I used to watch it, the Bunny Ranch, I think, on HBO.
Uh-huh.
I used to, I think it was like 10 years ago. They had like a TV series, and I had like my favorite girl picked out too. I still remember her name. Her name's Isabella Soprano.
Oh, I think she's a porn star too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I was gonna go, I'd choose that one.
Okay, so but I really want to finish this question real quick first. So, okay, so if it's legal, you know that you're not going to get any diseases or anything.
Yeah.
Like, and let's say that you weren't dating anyone, so there's no chance that it would be cheating or anything. Like, would you still find the moral issue with it, or are you bothered by that?
I'd probably give it a try.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's funny bringing this up because, I'll watch porn every now and then, right? But my girlfriend knows that I don't hide it, and
we all do.
But somehow it got brought up, and I was like, hey. we were talking about bodies, because you know how girlfriends or girls are insecure about their bodies, and they always compare it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So like that, and we were talking about porn. She's like, yeah, well, you watch porn. Yeah, but I was like, I'm not doing it to, for the faces or, the body parts. She's all like, well, what do you use it for? And I'm like, I didn't say anything.
Well, look, you can't say it's not for the faces or the body parts, but you can say there's no emotional connection.
No, it's mostly just for the visual of going in and out, technically.
So that you can just get your rocks off real quick and be
like
done.
30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's probably easier to to not pay attention to the faces when you're always watching like
I was trying to make the point. It's not for the faces or how beautiful they are. It's just for a quickie. But
look, even if it is, and I do want to get back to the Bunny Ranch thing for a second, but even if it is for the faces and their bodies and all that, it's still it doesn't mean that you don't find her sexy. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't rather be having sex with your girlfriend. It doesn't mean that you're going to go out and find these girls. All that it is it's the same thing as watching stand up for 5 minutes and getting a few quick laughs to brighten your day. You're just watching couple minutes of porking so that you can, deal with your little beef lo mein there. And then I must be hungry.
Are you hungry? You want some chow mein?
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to have minor fantasies. No person should be so insecure that they won't let their partner, comment occasionally if someone is good looking, or occasionally watch porn or something.
Like letting your girlfriend use a vibrator or something like that.
Yeah.
Without you not there.
Yeah. Why don't you hey, if I can't watch porn, why do you get to have a, 8-inch long black fake penis in you every time I, go camping with the boys or something?
And why are the black ones always bigger than the white ones?
Hang on, I'm getting a little interference here.
Oh. Yeah. You know what happened? UFOs, dude.
UFOs?
UFOs.
Did Tom DeLonge tell you that?
Yes, he did.
Real quick.
Yes.
So to wrap up the talk about
sex,
like the massage parlors and all that stuff.
Whacking off.
So you'd probably do it
once.
If all those conditions were met, just to try it or something, yeah?
Yeah, and if she did the accent. Like, ooh, that feel good? Ooh, me so horny, me love you long time. I'm not racist.
You sound racist.
It's just funny, okay? People have different accents. I'm just letting people know, yeah.
You know what I like doing? I like going and saying something totally innocent, but prefacing it with like, I don't want to sound racist, but I really like those pants today.
Yeah.
And then people are like, that wasn't racist. And you're like, good. Mission accomplished.
It's just like saying something gay, which we all do, and be like, oh, well, no homo. Or like, I love you, but no homo.
See, I don't even add the no homo because if you're secure enough with your sexual identity and all that stuff, like you don't need to constantly define it for people.
Would it work if you're like, yeah, I sucked a dick today, no homo though? You know?
That would be funny. That's different. If you're saying that you've done something blatantly like one way, and it's not even that it's gay. You could be like, oh, I ate rice today, no Asian or something. Like there's always a version of that joke you could
For some
use.
reason with us guy friends, we always joke around with gay stuff. It's a given. Granted, sometimes I do it more because I think it's funny. It's not that I'm gay bashing. It's just a funny thought.
There's a difference between gay bashing someone and calling them anything that they're not, which can be funny,
but
you know?
With this, like, they always, like, ask you this question. You know, say you're blindfolded and your girlfriend's sucking you off, but then they take the blindfold off and it's a dude. Now, are you gay or is that, like, a fucking free pass? You know what I mean?
Well,
what defines that wall of being gay or not being gay? What
being gay is if
like
that's
that?
what attracts you.
Yeah.
If that and it's not a decision. You know, if you grow up gay, you're always attracted to the same sex. So they would view sex with the opposite gender as just as weird and off-putting as we view homosexual sex because it's not what we're wired to do.
Do you believe that whole theory about you're gay because it's something like gene related or something? But see, I don't believe that.
No.
I don't know how people can use that as an excuse.
No, homosexuality has been a constant part of humankind and the animal kingdom since the dawn of time. And the thing is,
two gay monkeys.
I want to talk about gay joking real quick because it's something that it's an easy hot button issue to call someone out for. But what you were talking about, how guys joke like that, I think this is important just to mention from our point of view real quick, because we're never gay bashing, even when we joke like that. It's not that we're joking about the fact that being gay is like wrong or weird. What we're doing is we're making a joke about our friend being something that they're not, you know? So like if you're a really skinny guy, a funny joke around Nick is to call him the fat ass, you know, because it's obviously not true. And he's laughing right now. Or like with Yvette, you know, I'll make tall comments occasionally. And she's, you know, 4'9" or whatever, you know, like the type of humor is translatable to almost everything. It's just that suddenly in this political climate, when you use a version of that joke formula for gayness, people assume that you're
gay bashing.
Yeah. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I know, you know, a couple of gay people. And the thing is, I don't need to know if you're gay or straight to like you as a person. Neither does Nick. For whatever he says and how much of a punkass he is on this show, Nick is one of the, you know, most chill and accepting people around.
Oh, thanks, man.
Well, I'm doing that same joke again. But no, you're cool.
I was talking about this the other day with my girlfriend, right?
Boyfriend.
It's okay to be gay, but why is there some of those gays that make it out to like show that they're gay, like oh hi, like really, really like they do the weird voice, or they make themselves like really noticeable so you can know. Like, shouldn't it be like not like that? You know
you should probably be asking someone who can answer that from experience.
Damn.
But I'll give you my opinion on that if you want. And that's, you know, for a long time I was thinking along the same lines, like, okay, if gay people just want to be accepted and normal, why do they have these parades? That was the hardest thing for me to understand. And it's really two things. Number one, they've been oppressed by society for so long that they're finally able to kind of release all that. They're having a party, and that party's lasting a couple decades each year in a parade or whatever else, and that's fine. Fuck it, you know, have that. That's
it's like
fine.
the Macy Day Parade once a year.
But for the more, you know, flamboyant people and all that, it's not that they're doing anything extra. It's just that you notice it more because they're talking about it with the same-sex person. What they're doing is no different than the guy who's walking around with 3 women around his arm, giant muscles from steroids, yelling at the bartender to, hey, bro, give me a bunch of Jaeger bombs. And then, just being that overtly alpha male meathead type of person. And so people always do that. Like for guys like you and I, we kind of focus on things we do, like music and comedy, and that kind of becomes our definition.
Yeah.
But there's, look at a dominatrix. Most of their self-identity and definition is in costume and doing all this stuff.
Leather, whips.
Yeah, there's versions of that same thing, and it's just about which one you're looking at. So, if a gay person ends up being a little more flamboyant or dressing, a little more stereotypical, fine, fuck it, that's cool. But I don't think it's any different or worse than, people who walk around wearing sports jerseys every day.
Yeah.
Or whatever else. They're basically advertising parts of themselves to everyone. We do the same thing with our tattoos, and when you wear a shirt with a band on it, or I wear superhero shirts a lot. Those are minor things that tell people about your personality that you don't even realize, are kind of advertisements for what's underneath. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm advertising, Iron Man comics when I wear an Iron Man shirt. It's just that he's my favorite superhero. I like superheroes in general. The shirt looked cool. And, that's kind of part of my identity at this point is nerdy stuff.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you were a sheep, would you fuck another sheep?
I've seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I know better than to answer this question, or you're going to throw me out of the van going, this guy ain't one of us. He said he'd fuck a sheep.
I'm the Clit Commander. You see this face? You see Clit.
Wherever you see Clit, you'll see this face.
Oh, I love that. Hey, everyone listening right now, which is nobody. How was your day today? Was it good? How is your day? Did you have a really good day today, or are you having shitty days?
No, mine's been all right. I really just woke up when you got here to record the episode, though.
Jesse's always flamboyant when he wakes up. Right when
How
he wakes up.
dare you? How dare you?
Dare you?
So real quick,
Stop saying
yeah,
that
God.
ruins it.
I'm trying to substitute like apparently, and I'm struggling with it today, I guess. What are we at as far as time goes? Because I know you were worried about last week's episode being almost 2 hours long.
Yeah, that was an accident for people that were listening.
It was so much fun, though.
It was fun.
If we didn't have it that long, we wouldn't have had that last 10 minutes or so of the episode, and that was some of the best work we've done so far, I think.
Have no money for Will. I can't get that one out of my head. I don't know. I just think it's hilarious.
I was just trying to think of stereotypical porno lines like, hey, I brought you a pizza. Oh, I don't have money for a pizza. And then
it's I feel like we have 10 more minutes, but I wanted to actually talk really quick, seriously about the ocean, right?
Okay.
Because you know how, we have UFOs in space and everything?
Yeah.
But do people really go into the ocean like we do with space?
Well, we've tried, but the problem is that when you go into space, there's not a whole lot of pressure. It's a vacuum.
Right.
So it can rip you apart, but it's not going to compress whatever you're flying in. But as you go down atmospheres of pressure into the ocean, the strongest stuff we have will start to collapse under the weight of all that stuff.
Right.
So it's really difficult to explore it.
Well, I believe in aliens. I believe there's got to be something else out there besides us. But granted, I've never seen one. People say they have seen it, but we don't believe them because we think they're crazy. Yeah. Or people believe in ghosts or they've been possessed. But I've never seen it, so I'm always back and forth on it. But what if there's just crazy shit in the ocean that can't really come out to the surface as far as they want to, so we never see it, you know what I mean? Or what if there is Atlantis, or people say there's fucking mermaids, but there really is, but we're just oh, those people are fucking crazy.
Do you ever see that movie, The Abyss, from the 80s, I believe it was?
No.
That movie basically explores that whole concept, and there's an entire, alien civilization so far underwater, and the movie kind of gets into a few interesting things where it's talking about how, gaseous oxygen doesn't work at those depths, and so they created liquid oxygen that you could breathe, but you had to drown yourself in it.
Oh, really?
And and I remember watching those scenes as a kid, and it was so hard to watch because you realize okay, that'd be so hard to give up. You feel like you're about to give up the ghost and breathe in water and that'll kill you.
Yeah.
But in this movie, the liquid that you breathe in will not kill you. It'll work in your lungs and you can breathe it. And they show it at first with a rat. They put a lab rat in this fluid and then they basically drown him in it. And then he realizes he's okay and he's just like swimming around.
Oh, wow.
It's so weird, but like those are ideas that we'd probably have to consider before we could really explore some of the depths.
Well, like, Tom DeLonge, he's really into UFOs. Now he's really into like searching. I'm reading one of his books right now called Secret Machines. And they have to call it fiction though, but what it is, it's like, it's information they gathered through, I don't know, whatever they said, the government or people that actually work for the government, and they have all this stuff. It's like 5 stories of people being involved with like an alien spaceship or alien this and that. And I haven't finished it yet, but it's kind of cool. Or one was about these brothers that were in the middle of the Holocaust and they had to like break away from it and stuff like that. And the Germans had like some weird UFO ship that they were hiding. But it's just crazy to me they can't say it's true. They have to call it fiction, even though they know it's true from what the information they gathered.
Yeah.
Because then people just think they're crazy. You know what I mean? So what if the videos they post, even though they look shitty, what if those are actually like the real proof? But in our society, we don't want to believe it, and they're fucking crazy for it.
Yeah,
you know
and that's the whole point of what Tom's out there doing is he basically he says the way he explains it is he was approached by some people because of his interest and his position in the public eye, and basically they want him to help them find ways to distill some of this information in a way that they can present it to the common people and it won't cause a freak out.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what they're doing. Like, not only will people think they're crazy, they don't want to make everyone all of a sudden reject this idea because it sounds so crazy. So, and that's what Tom's been talking about other movies for years is like, Hollywood's been trying to do this already. All the science fiction we watch and stuff is these attempts to prepare people mentally for the eventuality that there is life out there.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's true, I don't know, but I'm not as skeptical about it as a lot of people are. And Tom's a weird guy to choose to do all that, but
it is weird,
I'm totally okay with it because he's someone that I respect musically and he's funny and he's definitely intelligent.
Well, just listening to other people talk about him, he's been obsessed with it for like years, so it's not like something he just like picked up all of a sudden.
Yeah, and
He's
so
like
many musicians go into like
Yeah.
politics and stuff. Why can't Tom join the search for for ET out there?
Yeah. Like Travis Barker, he's like, I'll talk with him, but he has a hard time with it sometimes as well. But he's used to Tom because he's been with him, for so long.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. What if you end up being an alien and I never knew this whole time?
I wouldn't count that out.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, Nick, check out this unique toy I have. It's called a probe. What?
Wait,
bro.
Wait, are you talking about like last year, that one night you stayed over and then you woke up the next morning with a sore ass?
Yeah,
and I told you it was nothing.
I thought it was a dream. It wasn't.
All right, man. Well, we're hitting that time spot.
Yeah, we
you
are
told
hitting
me
the time
about.
spot. This was more of just like a talking between me and Jesse, and hope you guys enjoyed it. We're having shitty moments at the moment, so we're not really,
Shitty moments at the moment.
Yeah, moments.
Life's been rough, but like what I love about doing this show, and especially doing it with you, is that it seems like we're able to keep that stuff on the back burner and find things to talk about that we enjoy, that can bring some joy, that can be funny, and feel a little bit better about the rest of the shit going on. And honestly, I hope that's how the listeners feel about it too.
Yeah.
Because we talk about heavy stuff at times, and then Nick will oftentimes try to be the one to change me up so that I'm not bogging the show down.
I try to break the ice.
Yeah, and I'll just keep talking and rambling about shit until you like turn me around. So it's pretty good.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone have a non-homosexual day today.
We're changing it
up. You know what you should do? You should Google it.
Google it?
Google it.
Is that another catchphrase of ours?
It's mine, okay?
So
don't touch it.
This is going to be episode 9. I wonder how many episodes we have to hit before Ryan Reynolds will finally hear that we exist.
Episode 1069.
All right, let's write that down just in case.
Yeah. It's gonna take a while. Something will hit. I don't know. It'll happen one day.
Next week,
I feel like we'll get a lot more popular once we have the video thing up.
Yeah, we're working on that, guys. Next week we have another guest, and it's going to be our first lady guest. My friend Sky is coming in.
We were supposed to have a guest today.
Don't yell at Yvette.
Yeah.
It was probably my fault because I didn't even try to wake her up. I just thought she was asleep and all that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Yvette.
All right. Well, cheeky shenanigans.
Shenanigans?
Shenanigans.
You mean shenanigans?
Shenanigans.
Oh. All right, guys. Well, yeah, we'll wrap this up. This has been the Cheeky Shenanigans podcast. Once again, I am Jesse, or Random Hero.
Punkass. Fuck off, everyone.
Or Nick.
Yay.
Yay.
I brought you Will.
I know I have money for Wheel. Me think of other arrangements.
We can't do it.
We do this all we want. You take my big tusk.
Where's all the women?
All right, guys, we out.